Hello, Steve here for Real Health. Today I wanted to answer a couple of questions. Well, the questions on Cora, which I've answered, and I want to kill two birds with one stone and answer my response to two particular diets which people have been referencing, the Mediterranean diet and the Okinawa diet. And we got misunderstandings in both of them, and I'm just going to debunk, for lack of a better word, just to challenge both of those particular diets. Well, I'll start with Okinawa first, shall I? So, Okinawan diet. Well, researchers went out there and they already knew that they have a high rate of centenarians, 100-plus-year-olds in Okinawa, and they wanted to see, what's going on there. And over 25 years, different researchers went over and they observed them doing how often they did their number ones and twos, how much they passed, and what sort of daily activities they did, what they ate, and and rituals, and their culture basically. And several research teams pretty much came to the conclusion that the Okinawa diet of rich in vegetables, fish, that's pretty much it. But also they noted that they were active and they were quite social and spiritual people. And they're the same things over, say, around 25 years they concentrated on Okinawa. And those things are quite appetizing, like, the diet, the spirituality, the activity levels of the Okinawans, and the high rate of centenarians in that population. Very appetizing, spirituality, diet, that sort of thing. Right. Okay, well, that was seen, but how about the unseen? I'm going to reference the unseen. Well, I'm not going to mention this particular, another guy that went in there. It wasn't really a formal research study, but he just wanted to go in there himself and confirm his own biases. We all have biases in research. We can't deny that sort of thing, but so he went in with his own biases, and his biases were confirmed, and which are as follows. Basically, he thought, I'll separate the men and the women, see what they have to say about what their thoughts were on, living to a ripe old age, and a lot of them passing 100 years of age. And with the men, the sort of things that came out, we practice martial arts, we're active, and we talk politics, and we're spiritual, and we respect our elders, and it's all about wisdom, and different mantras came out, and he thought, you guys, no worries. He left the guys there, and I'll see what the women have to say. He got the women together, and that's when the mother lode hit, the penny dropped. What came out with the women, like, as well as being quite social and community oriented, childcare, and making meals for the family and that sort of thing. Well, that's where the mother lode is, in the meals. And what the women were doing, they were cutting in ashes from the wood stove into the noodles that they were making. The ash would add to taste, texture, colour, making the noodles more appetizing. And unknowingly, putting this ash in the noodles nourished the Okinawans more than other regions of the world. We used to once do this before the invention of electricity, but Okinawa was still doing that because they were still using wood as their heating and their cooking source. And ash isn't just carbon or waste. it's got nutrients in there, trace elements, trace nutrients, and it unknowingly in the past it used to nourish us. We used to put ashes over our gardens as an effective fertilizer, and unknowingly the nutrients from the ash made its way into the soil, made its way into the crops, made its way into us, and we had less chronic disease and less obesity. Are you starting to get a picture here? Well, I've got the picture. I don't know if you're going to accept the picture or not, but I think that's the deal. That's the real deal. So he nailed it with the women, and also the women used to cut in ash into the salt because the men used to go heavy on the salt, and salt is pretty hard to come by and very expensive, or whichever. And they used to put ash in the salt as well for extra taste, and they got it that way. And so that was the real reason, and that is the real reason that Okinawans have a high rate of centenarians, and they're one of the blue zones which the National Geographic defines. And so that's the Okinawa diet. Ash, okay, not veggies, fish, and exercise. Ash. It doesn't mean that regions of the world where they've got lower life expectancy, they're still spiritual, active, eat vegetables, fish, meat, that sort of thing. But the kicker is the ash, and particularly Okinawan ash. Different regions around the world, minerals occur in veins around the world, just like gold here, oil over there, and bauxite behind there. And so it's the same with minerals in our soils, which ends up in our foods. Minerals don't end up in our crops just by spontaneously getting there. It only gets there via the soil. Yes, the crops, fruit trees that are they do make vitamins and amino acids, and depending on the crop, essential fatty acids. But so that's the micronutrients picture of the Okinawa story. Smashed it. It's ash, okay. And just to quickly note, there was another means that we used to get more, the excess minerals in our soils, and that was through seasonal flooding. We've lost that as well because we want to use hydroelectric dams to generate electricity, and we use damming for conservation and irrigation purposes. There's 3 million dams in the world which are damming up all the world's rivers. So, how about that for a figure? And since flooding has been mitigated pretty much most of the world, those seasonal floods aren't getting to the farmlands, and therefore the silt from the flooding isn't getting into the soils, therefore getting into the crops and into us. Basically, the increase in chronic disease and obesity is because we're not nourished, particularly with the minerals. That's the elephant in the room, and that's what I'm trying to advocate in my series of videos, and I'm also podcasting whenever I feel like it, sort of thing. It's not too regular, but I'm trying. But that's Okinawa. Okay. Mediterranean diet. There was a question on Quora to ask if the Mediterranean diet reduces cholesterol. And I just thought, Mediterranean and cholesterol. There's two concepts which I have to debunk, for lack of a better word, or disprove, or just to poo-poo, or whatever. Mediterranean diet is a gimmick and a fraud. That's right. I don't know the full story. It's very, I tried to Google it as if I'd come across it. It's pretty much demonized this particular story, but there was a doctor that went out there 20, 30 years ago, spent 6 months there, lived it up. He already had preconceptions that olive oil, vegetables, whole grains were good for us, right? And therefore Mediterranean bingo, Mediterranean diet, diet utopia. Nah. So that was the conclusion. It's pretty much whole grains, vegetables, oils, or olive oil. Not fried food. But still, all oils are detrimental to our health. It's oils that are clogging up our arteries. No, it's not cholesterol. Cholesterol is essential for our brain and hormone health. That's another podcast which I've and video which I've done. You can do a search on that. But so both the Mediterranean diet and cholesterol had to be poo-pooed. So whole grains. I'll just add that they got a long life expectancy in the Mediterranean, right? Well, are they just being fraudulent? The locals in measuring how their life expectancy. I reckon there's some fraud there. I reckon there's some fraud in general life expectancy stats. There's some indication that in the US, instead of the average age of being around 79, last time I looked, it's more like 60, 62, including all cases. So the way we're measuring life expectancy may be a bit dodgy. And so that's the thoughts on that. So the whole grains in the Mediterranean diet already sends a warning signal my way, which indicates whole grains, which does include wheat. The Greeks, Italians, they're very wheat centric in their diet, and wheat, being gluten, is detrimental to our absorption of the nutrients that we need for health and longevity. The villi in our small intestines get injured by eating gluten, and year after year, decade after decade, our nutrient absorption is impaired more and more, slowly, until we reach the age of, say, 50. We start going greyer, more wrinkly, starting to get some chronic diseases, obesity, perhaps, or weight gain. But that's part of aging. That's part of my genes, and this and that. Nah. It's because we're absorbing less nutrients. Grey hair is a nutrient deficiency. Oh yes, it's a nutrient deficiency in copper. Not enough copper getting in, therefore giving us more grey, and also part of the copper complex is varicose veins, hemorrhoids, and you're at a high risk of aneurysms because the elasticity of the arteries, that sort of thing is impaired. So that's a quick copper picture. But and I almost forgot what I'm talking about. Gluten, Mediterranean diet. Gluten, oils, also detrimental to our health. Oils, as I said, with the clogging of the arteries. Yes, it's the oils that are clogging our arteries. No, it's not cholesterol. It's oils, even olive oil, canola oil, mayo, salad dressing, coconut oil, soy oil. All oils are clogging our arteries. No, it's not cholesterol. Don't let up on the cholesterol. Get off your statin drugs, because you're booking yourself into dementia or Alzheimer's if you take statins and reduce your cholesterol intake. Also, there's nothing happening in the downstairs department regarding fertility, sexual performance, and your hormone function if you are deficient in cholesterol. Yes, I've got a fixation on cholesterol. That's another episode video, so you can check that out. But yes, oils are detrimental. Also, processed meats. The Mediterranean diet. I also believe that they like their salamis and hams and that sort of thing. Less so from their whole grains and oils, but also they do have some processed meat in those regions of the world, like Greece and Italy, the Mediterranean. Cyprus, Northern Africa, that's the region of the Mediterranean. And Portugal, Spain, those areas, Anyway, and sugar, they like their sweets. So sugar is it causes inflammation, and that's also detrimental to our health. So the Mediterranean diet and the Okinawan diet Wrong. The Okinawa diet, only if you're in Okinawa, will work. Only if you're eating the food out of their soil will work, but not if you eat their food that's grown in the US or Australia, Canada, Britain, or China or Europe. A carrot in Okinawa might have 70 minerals. A carrot in Australia might have 9 minerals, and a carrot in the US might have three minerals. Because all you need to produce crops is 3 minerals: NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. That's all you need to get many bushels per dollar of input. So that's that picture. So I just 15 minutes. I think that's enough. 16th minute. That's enough. Just to do a quick thing on the different types of diets out there, and I'll focus a bit more on other chronic diseases in future, and also different ideas from time to time. I hope this sort of stuff resonates. If there's any interest in taking the 100 plus essential nutrients that we do require for health and longevity, which the Okinawans are pretty much naturally doing, unknowingly that is, but to take action to take matters into our own hands, to be nourished nutritionally, and to reduce our cravings, we need to be nourished with all those essential nutrients. So if this sort of thing resonates, reach out or message to one of the portals I'll put on the description of the episode. And thank you for your time. See ya.